Hi there. Welcome to video 2 of Shelley's Adventures. As you know, before I'm gonna actually take you on a few adventures, we need to talk about a few things so we both know that we understand each other. Today's topic is 5 unspoken fears that if we don't address, probably have more power than they should. Let's start with what is fear? To me, fear is false evidence appearing real. Fear will always show up as soon as we do something different than before. And in my opinion, if you want to live life the best way, you're going to want to do new things all the time. I don't have any time to waste here on this planet, and I don't believe you have either. I'm going to give you my take on things. So not only can we experience things together, but you can also apply them in your own life to make most of your time you've got on this planet here. So, fear. False evidence appearing real. Okay. It seems like it's real, but it's not. That's something that fear is very good at. When we're in a new situation, our brain is wired to think, okay, we've got to be alert, we've got to be scared, because when we're scared, our body is going to be in its hyper alert mode. And then we can register everything that's going on that's going to help us survive. That's also connected to this belief that when something is new, the worst will happen. And the worst in our case, the survival case, is to die. So we cannot continue the species. I don't think I could put it any simpler than that. So that means that every time we're going to do something that is out of our comfort zone, it's going to activate the system that's going to label situations as relevant or irrelevant. And when it's called relevant for our survival, it's going to activate the system of fear. Basically a good thing, but it's just a system of our biological system. It's not something that should rule our lives at all. I know we're being fed a lot of information right now that is activating that system all the time. It's heartbreaking if you think about it, because I also believe that we have the power to rewire our own systems. We've got to put action into it. Oh, and God, because me alone on my human power would not do a lot here. That's where we are going to start from. So that's basically how it works with fear, right? So now I want to talk to you about 5 fears that maybe you can recognize, but people don't really want to talk about. Maybe you would provoke people to actually change something in their own life because you trigger something that they have too, but they have buried underneath. And that's why people want to not talk about things. And that's okay. We're not here to crack open cocoons, push the butterfly out, let them go through their own development. But doesn't mean that we cannot talk about it. We all know the fears of dying alone, spiders and car crashes, airplanes, stuff like that, like the big dramatic things, like fighting a gorilla when it's in your kitchen. We are ready to just slam it, and we're gonna, okay, let me fight that one. That's a fear I can deal with because it's clear and out there. And we talk about it. What's more difficult to deal with is the ants in the kitchen that are walking through your cabins and they're in the dark and you can't really see and they're everywhere. We're talking about the ants in the kitchen and not the gorilla. Fear number 1, fear of ending up average. If you think about it, it's really logical because it's important to me to make the most out of my time here. So it's really logical that I've got a fear about that. But let's talk about maybe also what is average. Average to me would be to basically be part of the gray mass, to be invisible, to not be awake, to be sleeping, to live a life that has been set out for you instead of being the captain of your own ways and looking where you want to go and set sail towards that next goal and then, experience the freedom of a wild animal, basically. But then an intelligent one that can also cooperate with the matrix. Ending up average and the whole fear system that it activates. We're going to talk about what is average, what's the norm, what's the comfort zone, and then we're going to step over it. If we keep wild animals imprisoned, they don't grow into the same full capacity as the wild versions of those same animal species do. The more we know, the more we find examples of, for example, wild animals being held captive and they grow up in like human situations, aquarius or like the zoos, the unnatural environments. the square boxes environment, animals don't grow into the same full potential they've got when they would have been able to in the wild. There are snakes that will grow up to 120 or 180 centimeters being kept in captivity, but they grow up to almost like 600 or 800 centimeters in the wild. That's almost 5 times larger than what they would have done. Literally, the physical size already is different. So the material of the animal is influenced by its surroundings, for one, and I believe also by the thoughts. So when you're being held captive, of course, you feel like you're like this in a small space. You're not going to be like this, of course. Think about that. If we're going to do that with everybody for the rest of our lives and we're going to hold them like this, people are going to, be like this all the time. But once they step out of it and they can see like, hey, wait a minute, there's a whole world out there and I don't have to be afraid. I am not helpless. I actually know that I can find information that I need because I'm a very intelligent, unique species living on a planet that shouldn't even be. If you want to go a little deeper in this, you can definitely Google domestication syndrome, or you can Google captivity-induced morphological change. We've got a choice every day, every moment to give our attention to what we actually want to give attention. So keeping yourself small, don't do it. So the fear of ending up average is a very legit fear, but the false evidence appearing real is that you have no choice. You do have a choice. Probably because you're interested in this video, you're already on your way of not ending up average. We're going to move on, but I think you've got the picture, right? The fear of ending up average. I'm excited to hear if you also have that fear. And I also want to let you know that if you have that fear, you're already making it impossible to end up average. This whole planet is filled with paradoxes, so I love that about life. We're going to go to fear number 2. The fear that your intuition is right. We need to talk about this one way more than we do in society. That's a scary one, right? Because then suddenly you don't always have to explain why you make a choice, but you can feel somewhere deep down that it's the right choice. There are a few moments when I started really making use and trusting my own capabilities and abilities in this intuition field. And it's not about the times that I started to see angel numbers. That was the time that I was waking up. That was when I was 23 years old. I'm 34 right now, so that's 11 years already. Whoa, my journey is already 11 years. No, rewind. Okay, fear number 2. The fear that your intuition is right. You already probably have a few moments that you're unconsciously just listening to your intuition. You're making choices and stuff is on autopilot, and then you suddenly can catch a ball, or you can suddenly catch like a cup of coffee that's almost gonna fall, or you can feel in traffic, oh no, I'm gonna go in the left lane instead of in the right where the next car is gonna crash into. If you're taking care of yourself, you've got these abilities already and you're maybe not even aware of it. But there are moments where you can really feel your intuition speaking to you, and it can be so scary to listen to. It might not match with my comfort zone and the things that I've always done in the past. And it's mostly around people. I'm starting to get better and better at it, but there are people in my life that I had to let go because I knew my gut feeling was like, you cannot go on with these people around you. And that means that we both have come to the end of the chapter. It's about that fear of knowing, I wish I could keep going, but I can't because my intuition is telling me I've got to go another way. Why is that scary? Because it may mean that, again, we're going to put ourselves into unknown territory. And we've talked about that being scary for human beings. But we're also gonna go against what may be expected of us by people around us. And that means that you're gonna change what you're gonna accept from other people, or it means that you've got to say goodbye to a few. And that's perfectly fine. It really is. I truly believe that what we experience here on Earth is only a fraction of eternity, of what really is going on when we leave this planet and we go back to where we have started from. The fear your intuition is right is, again, false evidence appearing real. It may seem that you could lose everything that you've worked for, That's legit. You don't want that, of course. Then there is the fear of people maybe not liking you. Legit fear. You want to be liked. That's how we're wired. Also from an evolutionary standpoint, right? That's coming in handy when we are loved and liked by people around us. And we're social beings. We need connection. So it's all legit. Up to the point where, again, we're going to go into worst case scenario. Because it could also be that because you're following your intuition, you're actually becoming more and more of the real you, of the wild version of you, the unhinged, true, free, living, thriving spirit that's coming to an animal experience here on planet Earth. There's the worst case scenario, which is, oh, I'm going to end up alone because all the people that I knew are going to hate me and they're going to sabotage my whole being in planet Earth and I'm going to die. You know, we're going there quite quickly as human beings. And that's because we're being held tiny, okay? We're going to go train ourselves to see that this unknown territory can be scary at first. Listening to your intuition may be scary, but you've got to feel the fear and do it anyway. Just go try it, try it out. It's not like you make this decision once and then it's going to be fixed forever. We've got to make this decision day after day after day again. And it's progress, not perfection. Not everybody's going to do it right from the get-go. That's not fun. That's not why we're here. And it's not supposed to be any different, because once we leave this planet and we've got this really, truly integrated in our soul being, that means that it's really worth something and we can take it probably anywhere from here. Again, just my belief. So you don't have to be afraid of your own intuition. I would suggest listen to your intuition and just test it out with the tiny things. I never regretted doing the scary right thing. You've got to train it. Be kind to yourself while you're doing that. Number 3, the fear of stability. It's interesting. We talked about the fear of listening to your intuition. And then there's the fear of stability. Stability means that you can actually have balance when you're sailing your boat in this whole thing called life. That's another thing than being average and imprisoned somewhere in a basement of fear. Do you get it? Do you get the difference between stability and ending up average? If you really want to contribute to this world, you've got to find a way to at least stabilize yourself. It's something that I've been working on for a long time because I did not have that, not in my childhood, not in my early adult life. I did not know that stability was not the same as standing still. I thought stability meant ending up average. And because I was afraid of ending up average, I avoided everything that had to do with stability. So I understand that I did that. I actually praise myself for going full in on not wanting to end up average. The thing is, it wasn't sustainable. So I basically had to start all over again. And that's what I'm doing right now. We're 5.5 years into my sobriety journey. And it turns out that stability is beautiful and we all need it. So that means that I know I don't have to waste time or energy. We need stability if we want to grow. We cannot have a plant or a tree grow without roots and being able to really go deep into the ground. We're just a tree going into the ground and we're going to root wherever we want to go so we can actually grow up. You can easily go overboard, right? Like if you're going to keep the stable structure and you're going to make it in a way that you cannot move, that is the moment where you're going to end up average because you're not going to grow and you're going to keep yourself from actually moving freely. Fear number 4. We're just going to smash it through now. How do I look? Super shiny? Love it. Okay, fear number 4. The fear of being seen. So what is going on there? I want to be seen and at the same time, I don't want to be seen because I find it very unattractive when everybody's eyes are on me and people are just like hooking on with their energy and I'm like, I don't like this. But at the same time, what would be the whole point of doing a YouTube channel or sharing a message or creating something beautiful in life and then not be seen? I don't want to be seen and I want to be seen at the same time. What's that about? Well, I looked into it. So again, the brain marks relevant or irrelevant. It's a relevant situation because my happiness, my survival is connected to how others perceive me and how I perceive others. It doesn't feel neutral to be seen. So that's why Speaking in public is one of humans' biggest fears because it's so overwhelming to see all these other beings connect with their energy. Like, everybody's like, meh. And then that's scary. It's really scary because you suddenly realize you're just one little person and you could really die if all the energy would be directed to you in a way that is not healthy. It's a fear of the unpredictable. It's a fear of the social anxiety that's all coming together. The scary things in life, the real danger, I think, happens when we're alone in the dark and nobody looks at us and we can think all these scary thoughts because we pick up on radios being fed with all the fears. So it's the scary part is when we go end up alone in our own rooms with the curtains closed and we're going to believe what we hear in our own minds. That's when it gets scary. That should be the real fear. But our fear is about being out there in the open and standing up above the norm, the comfort zone. It all comes from a deep belief that says, okay, this could go really wrong. And that again is understandable. But it's an old belief. Like, what would be the worst thing that would happen? And we always want to be free and get out. And I think that stems from our nature of really being actually a wild animal. If you want to go deeper into this, I would recommend to Google agoraphobia, the fear of not having an escape. Until we knew, we didn't know any better, but now we know. Anyway, we're going to continue with fear number 5. Oh yeah, that's the fear of losing people when you grow. If I change, then I will change so much that I cannot take the people with me that I actually love. It's a real fear because, again, I don't want to be heartbroken by leaving people behind, especially my inner family circle and a few of my best friends. And I've been going through a few transformations with several friends. And it turns out that if it's meant to be, we will grow along with each other. And people will keep transforming themselves too. And sometimes it turns out that I don't have to participate in the same way that I had to do in the past. And that is good for the relationship. And altogether, it means that it's, again, false evidence appearing real, because the reality of it is that you can grow together. The people that are actually meant to go with you and you can practice becoming yourself with, those people will always be open to you trying out new things and becoming more yourself. This stems from the fear of condemnation, and it's basically labeled by our brain as highly relevant. You don't want to become lonely and you don't want to end up alone, and it all has to do again with the unpredictable nature of it. And it's just about the unknown factor. So if you don't know, then our brain gets creative and we can have all these fears and fantasies about what could go wrong, and that's how we're wired here all together. And then we start slowly to trust our intuition, to chase something else than what has been given to us. And we can see that if we grow out of our comfort zone with a stable factor, we can take the people that are meant for us with us, or we can meet them in several moments once we continue our journey and we check back into certain places where we come together. So that's all that I've got to say for today. And I just want to thank you. If you want to support this mission and you want to let me know that you actually enjoy what I'm talking about, please subscribe, like, share, do everything that you can do. Let me know in the comments if you have had something about this video that you actually like and that you recognize. And then I just want to say, good job. You made it through video 2 and you're ready for video 3. So see you next time.